Welcome to an emergency episode of Never Storm. Only it's my 2015 Ford F-150 3.5 EcoBoost. And today we're going to be covering how to repair the stripped drain plug for a little oil pan on these models. I was doing an oil change on it. This truck has had 46 10,000 mile oil changes. Because currently we're at 460,000 miles in the original engine and turbos. And threads let go. Smooth bore, straight through the oil pan. So follow along, I'll show you how to make a repair to that oil pan. And we're going to cover some other things that are going to be going on with this truck. At 460,000 miles, she's got some things that need to be replaced. She's got some parts that are either broken or worn out. And we're going to be probably creating a series on doing that. Mostly front suspension, undercarriage, we'll be covering maintenance. And I'll tell y'all how I got this engine to 460,000 miles. Believe it or not, the transmission made it to 374,000 before I did a complete replacement on that transmission. So let's get into it and I'll show you how to make the repair to that oil pan. Here's the drain plug and the threads that stripped from the oil pan. All right, here's the tool I chose for this job. Stopped at Harbor Freight, picked up some stop collars and some red Loctite. I'll be using that on the thread on the insert. Just of note, it's 500 degrees to remove the red Loctite, so it should be just fine for this application. This is a kit I got from AutoZone. They have others online. TimeCert makes one just like this. This is the one I had available to me in a short period of time. Looks pretty well made, but I'll let you know how it is once I get it out of the package. The drain plug that comes out of the F-150 aluminum oil pan is a 12 millimeter by 1.75. This kit is going to drill out and replace the threads so the original drain plug can go right back in. So let's get under the truck and I'll show you how we're going to do this. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a drill stop on the drill bit, the same length or depth as the insert here. All right, step one, I discovered you're going to have to take off this sway bar. So elevate the truck, put some jack stands underneath the frame so the suspension can hang down, and take the stress off of the sway bar and go ahead and remove that so you'll have room to get some tools and a drill in there. So earlier I said I would set the collar to the depth of the insert, but that's not really going to work. You're going to have to set it to where you get a full cut with the tap. So we're actually going to back this down a little bit, get a little bit of deeper cut with this drill bit and this collar. Now that we've got that collar adjusted, we can go ahead and get the drill in, get it as straight as possible, and slowly start cutting. Disclosure, I tried many methods of getting tools in here to get a straight shot at this oil pan, and I was unable to do so. So that's when I discovered you had to drop the sway bar. Also, I thought a good set of tap handles. I have a ratcheting set of tap handles from Gear Wrench, and I love that set. I really thought I could use those tools
with this tap and drill and do this entire job by hand, but that just turned out to not be the case. It is perfectly okay to use a hand drill if you can get it straight, parallel, in line with the bore of the drain plug that is already in existence. Now, I'm not entirely sure what was going on with this drill. It was showing the battery was full, but this is one of the Chinese knockoffs on eBay I picked up a year or two ago. So I know I have a couple of them that work just fine. The others seem to lose power pretty quick, and I think that's what was going on here. Like a pretty clean hole. Now we'll get the tap and start that. All right, I'm gonna try to start this with the drill because I just don't know if my tap handle is gonna fit, but we're gonna use this guide here to keep it straight. All right, so it's looking like it's starting. Tighten this chuck a little more. For some reason it felt like the tap didn't want to catch right away, but finally it did cut in, and then it was able to pull in like I thought it should. I think that ought to be plenty deep enough for the insert. Let's get a little brush and we'll clean out those threads, and we'll test fit the insert, make sure it's going in good, and then we'll cut the counter bore. Do a little test fit. The insert screws onto this little tool here, which I guess is kind of like cut like a pipe thread. It gets bigger, and so this will actually stop on it and allow you to turn it in. So use a little caution here. Don't over tighten it or bottom it out. You're just checking to see if the threads are smooth. Don't bottom it all the way out because it's going to want to tighten up and stick in there. Yeah, so just a loose fit for now because we're about to cut the counter bore so the whole thing can seat flush. And we'll go ahead and chuck up our counter bore, and that'll allow us to recess that insert so we still have a flush surface for your copper or rubber gasket on your drain plug. Go ahead and test fit that again and make sure it's flush. Yeah, it feels pretty good. All right, let's see if we can take it back out. Oops. All right. Do our best to kind of clean out these threads a little bit. We're going to spray it with some brake clean, and then we're going to set the insert in there, tighten her down. Yeah, we grabbed quite a few chips coming out of there. Spin this in counterclockwise motion. It should, oh yeah, I can see it grabbing pieces and bringing them out down the threads. So yeah, that method does work. Hit this with a little brake cleaner. Clean the insert with a little bit of brake clean. Also, we'll clean around our hole. You don't have to worry about getting brake cleaner in there because we're going to rinse all this out with some oil. All right, add some red thread locker. And we'll use well, we can use a little crescent wrench to tighten that. All right, once you've gotten that tight, you can take the tool out, make sure everything's flush here. That's perfect. That feels good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna let this sit for 24 hours. That's what the instructions on the red Loctite call for, is a final cure time. So I'm gonna let this sit overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the sway bar, and we'll call this repair good. We'll follow up in the morning when I go to flush everything out with some oil and refill the crankcase. So, I've got to apologize up front. I didn't get to finish videoing the completion of this project, but essentially I'll explain what took place. I'm a nurse. I work nights. I let that sit overnight. I had done it the morning before and let the red Loctite dry. The next morning I brought my bore scope that I look down rifle barrels with, and I put that camera into the drain hole, and there was a large amount of chips in there. So I cleaned that area out with a brush. I put a straw, a larger diameter straw, taped it to the end of a shop vac, tried to remove some that way. But I think ultimately just running a gallon of fresh oil through the engine and letting it flush the chips out of the drain hole probably got the majority of those chips out. I reinserted the bore scope into the drain plug. There was 2 specks that I couldn't retrieve, and I felt like they were probably okay. If they were at the bottom of the pan, they'll get flushed out the next time I do an oil change. I think they were large enough they wouldn't make it through the screen on the pickup tube. And if they did, they would make it right into the oil filter before they were pumped through the engine. So I feel pretty confident that it was a good repair. Having those steel threads on the steel plug, you'll never have to make this repair again. Unfortunately, I'm a little heavy-handed sometimes, and I think just as many times it's been tightened and retightened, those threads finally just had enough and came loose. But I'm happy with the repair. It's been, I've put 2,500 miles on the truck since. There's not been a drop of oil leaked from the oil pan or the drain plug. So it was a successful repair. So if you have any questions, comments, put them down below. I'll respond, and I hope this video helped somebody going through the same issue as me. So, but subscribe, because if you have a 2015 to current F-150 with a 3.5 EcoBoost, I'm gonna be doing a lot of maintenance and repairs on this truck that are just parts and items that are worn out. It's time for freshen up. Engine still runs strong. I did just change the spark plugs in them, in it probably about a month ago. But I'll probably be pulling those back out, doing a compression test, and then making a decision on moving forward with some of the other maintenance that needs to be done on this truck. So right now we're at 460,000 miles, and I'm just curious to see how far it'll go. So subscribe, stay tuned. We're gonna have some interesting content if you're interested in, you know, repairs on an F-150. They'll be coming out in the near future. Thanks.